Good morning. It is Tuesday morning after Memorial Day. Hope everybody had a safe and happy holiday. It is Johnny, Car Counseling here. As per request, my friend Shannon asked me to touch on anger. My insight, my perspective, the way I process it. So, one of the things I hear a lot is anger is a secondary emotion. No, it's not. Not all the time. Example being, if I'm driving down the road and somebody cuts me off, I might get angry at them. So, aside from that, anger is an emotional response to something that we are unhappy with. And when anger is not a secondary emotion is when we have an emotional attachment to the individual that we're angry at, right? So yeah, anger can come in the form of resentment and deceit and all those other things that bring up that feeling. Is also one of the easier emotions for us to process. It is much easier for us to be angry at somebody or angry with something because we don't like to experience sadness or disappointment. We just don't like it, right? It makes it much easier for us to be angry. So one of the things I think is important is for us to take anger into perspective, right? And what is happening emotionally with us with anger. My take on it is that anger and resentment and all those negative emotions is a power and control issue, right? So if I'm angry with somebody, right, and it's a secondary emotion, that means that I'm disappointed or hurt by somebody, and I want to feel anger because that comes outward. If the person who cut me off pisses me off, anger, right? I'm mad at that person. So what I believe is happening is that there is a shift, an emotional shift in power and control. And what I think for me has worked over the years to not be so angry or not be so disappointed, is to not allow the individual who I'm harboring this feeling against to have power and control over me, right? They have control over my emotions. If I allow them to take control over my emotions, I feel this rage and this anger and this resentment. And that gives the individual a level of importance that they may not deserve. Now, if I'm able to process my actual feeling, because anger is a secondary emotion with an emotional attachment to people, it's easier for me to process that, right? So my idea is to take back the control of my emotions, right? That take that power shift and bring it back to me and no longer allow them to control how I feel, right? So if you take the level of importance of the people that we're dealing with and that we're talking about, right? We can recognize the actual feeling behind it, right? So if it's a person who cut me off, yeah, I'm mad, I'm angry, maybe they were in a rush, I don't know, maybe they had somewhere they had to be, or they're just a terrible driver. But if it's a person who's near and dear to my heart, I'm probably not angry with them. I'm probably disappointed, right? But I still have the ability to take back that control, right? I still have the ability to control, to shift the emotion that I'm experiencing, right? So anger is definitely not always a secondary emotion. Sometimes it comes in the form of all these other emotions that we experience, and we're just not comfortable with depression and sadness and disappointment because, who wants to feel that? No one, right? It takes the attention off of how we actually feel about it. So take your power back, right? Take your control back. You have the ability to control your emotions and not allow somebody else to have that much control, right? And then decide, are they that important, right? Do they have variance over how I feel? So take a look at that, right? When you're angry, take a look at who it is, take a look at why they made you feel that way, and then decide if they're important enough. And if they are, if it's someone you care about or someone you believe loves you, right? That's where you have the process, right? Let them know how you feel about it. Real simple, right? Power and control, baby. You can always take your power and control back. So that is it. Backing into my job. I shouldn't be driving like this, but I am. It's Tuesday morning. Hopefully I'll try and get some kind of motivational thing going later on. So until then, enjoy the rest of your day.